the linebackers operating in space. All right, go ahead. Yeah. So yeah, like the linebackers just like it just seems like they don't have the wheels to keep up with these spacey type more plays. For example, like Jabome made a great hustle play on one of those runs down the field, but I feel like he just kind of got outran at the line of scrimmage, and then that's kind of what led to, I think it was one of Daquan Finn's like 20 plus yard runs. But yeah, and other than that, I don't think the linebackers really played particularly bad. It's just I feel like they just don't have the speed to deal with a lot of these open, more spread type offenses, and it kind of concerns me when we start getting into the Big Ten play, especially if we start playing against like some of these. I mean, no discredit to Miami of Ohio, but like some of these more premier Big Ten teams. Penn State brought back both their running backs in Singleton and I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name, but they're both great running backs. I mean, it's just, are our linebackers going to be fast enough to be able to make plays in space moving forward is a real concern for me.
Yeah, and it's such like a big gap when we do speak about it, especially coming from I think guys that we put out recently, like Fadakasi, Fogg, Powell,
Mm-hmm.
and then even having Torre, where those guys are all over the place. And even having running backs get to open field, I feel like our secondary, we've had guys all over the place. I mean, Max, Izzy, you know, Bo Nix, like guys who were there that were going to make the play, even if they were giving up extra yards, like they were going to be there, or at least have the angles to get to that next spot. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what our
Um,
linebacking core can kind of bring, at least to Norfolk State, if they can have things to build on before we go into Iowa.
yeah, I don't know what their quarterback room looks like. I guess I kind of just assumed since Mike Vick's their coach that they probably have some super athlete at quarterback.
Well, Finn this past week went 250 passing yards and then over 80 rushing yards. So, I mean, if you
Yeah.
think about the 117 rushing yards we gave up, he had, over 50%, 82 rushing yards. And then passing wise, the 250 yards,
He
there's,
had 96 is what the box score states. Daquan Finn had 96 on the ground.
so, yeah,
And you look at their other two running backs, 5 carries, 19 yards for a 3.8 average, 6 carries for 14 yards for a 2.2 average. I mean,
well, I think,
linebackers, defensive line did pretty much more or less what you'd want them to do. 3.8 is a little bit higher than I guess I'm just being a stingy Rutgers fan for our run defense in the past being so vaunted. 3.8 to me is like, oh, that's high. But aside from Daquan Finn running for a hundo on our head, we kept their running backs in check, which is exactly what I was talking about, the linebacking core. Because then it's like, oh, well, why don't you put a spy on them? It's like, yeah, that's great in theory, but if your linebackers aren't fast enough to catch him in space, then you're basically just removing your linebacker from your overall coverage scheme or whatever play you're running for no reason. You know what I mean?
yeah, well, that also opens up another question. Keith Reynolds on Ohio went for 120 receiving yards. Some of that credit, you kind of give to Finn, him having the time, him able to,
Mm-hmm.
make plays, getting out in space. But do we see this as trends moving forward? Do we see, key receivers, number one receivers on, opposing teams going for, a hundo plus over a century, at least one or
I
two,
mean, what's
every.
if we're getting smashed by Reynolds and Perry on Miami of Ohio, what do you think Jeremiah Smith is going to do to us? I mean, that's actually a good a good transition from our linebacking into our defensive backfield. Like, I mean, I don't think our corners played particularly bad. It's just, I'm going to sound like such a hater, but dude, our safeties are just, I don't know what's going on. I mean, Jet Elad, I'm going to sound like such an absolute hater, just being super critical of him 2 weeks in a row. But I mean, how many times were the receivers just by themselves behind our safeties?
Yeah, miscommunication too. On certain
You
routes,
know, the
critical
yeah, the
plays.
miscommunication on that one play from Kaj Sanders where it was the deep ball. It looked like he was kind of shading to the bottom half of the field, and then the guy just ran down the seam. That was like a 70-yard pass. Um, Jet Elad just hook, line, and sinker, diving headfirst onto that double route and just getting absolutely eviscerated for like that 80-yard pass or whatever it was, 60 yards that Cam Miller saved the touchdown on. I mean, saving the touchdown, like I appreciate the effort. I mean, but they scored the very next play. So, I mean, I might as well just call it a touchdown for what it is.
Catching a
Um,
break with the offensive pass interference a little bit too.
yes, that's another whole point too. Is like, yeah, like looking at this box score, 45-17. Had we not gotten fortunate with that, I mean, listen, I'm a diehard Rutgers fan, but I'm not going to be here and not be objective. That was a bad call. And I thought that their head coach was about to get booted from the game because he was going after the refs. But I mean, I can't even blame him for that because um, that was a bad call. And that changed the momentum of that game. Like, who knows what we'd be looking at, you know? If that call didn't happen, like we might have been looking at another repeat of last week and the score would have been maybe 45-38. You know what I mean?
Yeah, our defensive backs too, and I know you keep hearing Cam Miller's name called. They're looking to make plays. Salam even too. Like there's guys that want to make plays and emerging. I just like we're not seeing it yet. No, I'm not seeing the
Yeah,
comp
I mean,
in the
Mascow made a
secondary.
great read. Yeah, Mascow made a great read on that pick. So that's why the corner play. I mean, it's ho hum, nothing to write home about. But this safety thing is really just starting to eat away at me. I thought last week might have been a fluke, but back to back, just getting absolutely torched on like we talked about gash plays, huge plays. That's not something that we are used to seeing as Rutgers fans, especially against MAC opponents.
Two, I mean, I think there's certain guys. I think Cox Sanders is an athlete. I mean, I see their effectiveness too, even with like special teams. I mean, he came close to blocking another punt this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could build off the interception. I think all those plays, when you turn around the game, make impact plays, are great. But yeah, it's. I think we have to be wary now moving forward, or even every game, until
Yeah,
communication sync, or we see improvement in the play, movement to the ball.
yeah. I mean, I had super high hopes for Josh Sanders coming into this season. I think he played very well last year um, for the position that he was thrust into as a freshman. And that's not to say that I don't think that they're not going to have a great season this year, or I'm calling for them to get benched or whatever. Um, but you know, Coach Smith and the rest of that defensive room needs to figure out what's going on because 7 catches for 120, 4 catches for 108. It got to the point where like anytime Daquan Finn threw the ball deep and the trajectory wasn't all the way in the screen view yet, like I was concerned that it was going to be a huge play because that's exactly what's been going on this week and last week. It's like, oh, deep ball, that's probably going to be a catch for someone that's somehow wide open. You know what I mean?
And two, lately they've been fortunate enough we're playing back to back to back to back home games. Rutgers
Yes.
fans are there. You're playing in your home stadium, your familiarity, comfortability in there, but really the familiarity. What's it like when you're going to be going on the road and it's loud? You can't hear. You're going against zebras on the opposite. You're in the opposition's throne. So
Yeah.
it's only going to be more complicated if they don't get things aligned now.
I mean, that I think if I could focus on two plays that I think altered the course of the game, it would have been um, for a positive, it would have been Bo Mascal's interception, and then not really a negative, but it's not directly based on one of our players making a play, which is what we want. It's that pass interference. Those two plays right there. That's I think potentially a 14-point swing, and we have a very different game going into the fourth. Well, obviously the pick was in the first half, but that pass interference was. Um, they were driving down the field, you know,
Two,
and on that play they had converted on another. What was it, 15-plus-yard completion.
it's actually tough. It made me think this year too. At least in the past, I can name at least one or two guys that are going to go to try to either deflect the ball, force a fumble almost every play.
Mm-hmm.
Historically with the Rutgers defense, guys who want to punch it out are just going ball hawks. And there's nothing I see so far this year that makes me say, at least him, he's got a chance to go and punch the ball out. He's going to go force fumble. He's going to be there for tackles in the backfield. He's going to be there for, any jump ball and, you like a 50-50 chance. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of something that's hard to build off when you haven't seen it yet, especially after game two, not conference play, two home games. I mean, yeah, you're going against these. I mean, I think too, being a Rutgers fan, you kind of expect, maybe not everything to be perfect at this point in the season, but a little bit more confidence in some of the defensive play.
And honestly, that this may very well be indicative of the box score for our leading tacklers. Are the safeties. 5 tackles for each, Kaj and Jay Elod. But yeah, the defense needs. I don't know, man. I'm trying really hard to be optimistic about the defense moving forward, but it makes me super concerned.
Well,
You know,
look at our D line. None of our D line really has. I think Eric O'Neill has one solo tackle. Bradley Weaver has 8. They're all assisted.
and Dowie had a solo, 3 tackles.
So yeah. I mean, Rahman has 2 solo tackles too. It, it's
He had a sack too, didn't he? Yeah,
yeah, he had
he's
one
the only
season.
he's the only other person other than DJ that had a sack.
And listen, I'm all for gang tackles, team tackles, assisted tackles if we're stopping the ball all the time. When you see no one really emerging, breaking through the O line, someone who's in the backfield, even for critical third downs, first plays,
Yeah, I've noticed that we've been blitzing Jabome a lot. Have you noticed that?
not as much a little bit. I feel like I haven't seen it as much or haven't really just been noticing or paying attention, but
I mean, him on the sack was on the blitz. I noticed a lot last week that he was blitzing a lot. There was a couple times he almost had a sack, I think, against Parker Navarro. That might have just been the plays that they're running though, so could be a whole bunch of nothing. Um, but yeah, man, enough on the defense. I don't want to beat up those young guys
I think
anymore.
about
It's
Jay
just
Patel. Special teams. Jay Patel's been playing well this year. I mean, he had a good
yeah.
last year. So, I mean, local guy, South Brunswick. Do we see
Mm-hmm.
anything, my confidence? I mean, he has, I think, 1 from 30 to 39 this year. He's hit everything so far, no misses. So, critical situations,
Well, he set the record last week, didn't he? For was it 15 in a row?
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think because I think Shiano even said that he didn't even realize that he has that record. So I'm going to be interested to see like once we start having him kick from farther out how he performs. But from 40 in, having a dude that is money is a very reassuring thing because you pretty much are, for the most part, you can pretty much know for a fact that you're going to get at least 3 if you can get to the 40. You know what I mean? It's almost a guarantee at that point. Um, but yeah, we'll slide into our offense. Oh, and before we, just haze over the special teams, you had briefly mentioned it earlier too. We were about like an inch and a half away from another blocked punt. Um, so did you notice anything in the return game? I know you had texted me about, we really think that Ben Black might house one at some point this season. Um,
I have guarantees. I love seeing Aaron Cruikshank. I love seeing Janarian Grant. Speed kills, and I see it in Ben Black. I'm surprised he's not doing punt returns at the moment. I do like DT Sheffield back there. I think he's shifty, has bounce if he gets space, but both of them, especially Ben Black, I think Ben Black is, I think we could expect him to return at least one or two this year. And you know what?
I mean,
Even
maybe
if he's getting
maybe
30
that's
yard returns, 25,
yeah.
40, and putting us in a place where, we can move the ball and, we're not setting up shop at our own 10, I'll take it.
Hey, maybe that's where he shows out this year. Maybe that's. I mean, maybe since he won't end up getting a ton of burn on the offense. Maybe that's where he starts to shine is fielding punts. Um, something about seeing your star players on special teams always makes me extremely uneasy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because special teams
Sheffield.
is special teams is just such a wild time, especially kickoffs, punt returns. It's just I don't know, something about seeing DT Sheffield back there makes me at times concerned because it's just I get nervous he's going to take like one bad hit, and then next thing you know he's out for like a couple weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we see it so different with programs. I mean, guys like Hester, Charles Woodson, in more recent years, Jabril Peppers. You know, he's all over the field defensively. They're using him on punt returns.
Mm.
And so it's definitely interesting to see. Can we see, a glimpse of an Ed Reed type of return? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But
But
yeah, do
yeah,
you
we'll
have
slide into the
riders?
offense. I mean, what was your who do you think was? I mean, aside from Ethan, and what did you think? How do you think our offensive line played since we've been doing our position group breakdown?
Over 400 yards of offense. You can't sit here and say they did that bad across the board. I mean,
Yeah.
passing game, the pass game, pass blocking it's been good. Nathan doesn't seem to be in that much trouble. I mean, he had a few plays where he's scrambling out, or he's finding a gap, and he has the confidence to run. Uh, I don't, you don't want to expect that or tell our quarterback he should expect to, be getting hit, but he does have to have take the chances and be able to transition to run the ball and be a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more mobile when he can. But I mean, Strong putting up big numbers, Duff putting up big numbers, Sheffield finding holes. I would like to see our tight ends get a little bit more involved. I mean, I haven't seen any big plays really from Weber, from Fletcher, and they seem to be just doing little kickouts, rolling to the outside and throwing them, maybe 5 yards,
Mm-hmm.
6, 7 yards. So I would like to see that as well. I mean, that's really my take. The pass blocking was great. I mean, I would have liked to see our running backs, put a little, have better numbers. But I mean, I think Campbell's averaging over 5 yards a carry. Raymond's averaging over 5 yards a carry. But yeah, I mean, our running game didn't seem to be that explosive. I mean, it didn't seem like we were getting big chunks a lot,
Mm-hmm.
not that many big plays. I mean, Campbell had one run, Raymond had one run, but that's what I saw for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. O line. We only gave up what 3 sacks, I think. One, two, three. Yeah, 3 sacks. Um, yeah. The only thing, like I said, we had a ton of offense. I think the only thing that I can really be, like I said, nitpicky about is just I feel like there were at times on the runs where we weren't getting like a solid, foothold, a solid push up front. Um, but we'll see how that goes moving forward. Um, Yeah, you're right. The tight ends. I mean, they did. They did. I think they did draw up a lot more tight end oriented plays. Um, but I think like on one of them, I think one or two of them is when obviously Ethan, did that scramble out. He scrambled out of it. They had run that classic. We were going to run the tight end in motion and kind of use it as like almost like an RPO type play. Um, they did. I feel like they did target Fletch a couple of times, a bunch of times. I feel like there's a couple where he didn't come down with the ball. I know there was one of them that got broken up because it was kind of thrown behind him. I think it was either him or Colin Weber. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, maybe they're just trying to figure out what to
reception.
do. Huh?
Yeah, I did see Weber getting more involved too. So
Yes.
kind of like
They
the
definitely had a. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you're good. I like that. We do have the two tight end option. I mean, we had a lot of tight end injuries last year, so
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, I like to see Fletcher, kind of become a weapon on his own. A little bit more solidified.
Yeah. But I feel like they definitely did make a concerted effort to try to get them more play calls. Um, what else is there really to say about the wide receiver room? The offense is making this part of our job, trying to cover it and podcast it a lot easier. Um, you know, KJ Duff, Ian Strong, just seems like anytime we needed a play, one of those dudes was there to make a play, especially Ian Strong. Um, you know, the back shoulder fade to KJ, dude. That seems like that should just be a staple if we're in the red zone. I mean, he's 6'6". Just throw the ball somewhere where he can go get it. And I mean, I'd be hard pressed to find a defensive back in the whole country that would be able to stop that. Just based purely off of the fact that he's 6'6".
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, 1-on-1 in Island with KJ Duff seems like a scary place to be for any defensive.
yeah, I mean, and even the guy that was guarding him on the touchdown, I remember the announcer was saying that he was 6'2". So it's not like he was a small corner by any means. Like 6'2" is pretty big for a cornerback. Um, usually you'll see them in like the 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, maybe 6'1" ish range. A lot of times you don't see a ton of corners that are over 6 feet tall, and that dude was 6'2". But I mean, it doesn't make a difference because KJ Duff is 6'6", and that's not that's not factoring in his wingspan and the fact that he's an athlete and he can jump. It's just the fact solely that he's 4 inches taller than this guy. So I mean,
Yeah,
am I crazy to think though that it seems like this must be like the way they coach? They coach the team not to fumble the ball, but everybody once they have the ball in their hands, they all run the ball the same way that Colin guy ran the ball. You notice that?
high up,
Yeah,
Antoine
yeah.
Raymond, and you know what it is? I love seeing it. There hasn't been fumbles, but it's so unique to see it that high that
Well, even on Ian Strong's touchdown, he was doing the same thing, and I'm just thinking to myself like, I don't think I've ever seen any other wide receiver run with the ball like that.
I remember when I
It's
in high school, it was always just don't carry it out like a breadbasket. You always see star players if they're going down the field. If they have the talent, the athleticism, to make people miss and everything. But yeah, to see everyone moving it, especially hitting the A gap, going through the B gap that high, running it's very unique to see. I love.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Ian Strong's slant route touchdown. He catches the ball and then immediately he's up and away touchdown. Um, but
His
yeah, dude, it's
first.
fun. It's fun watching this offense. Like I will say this, I can. It's fun watching the offense, and it definitely offsets the stress of watching the defense.
And I think that's my biggest thing this year is we're so used to seeing like strong running games or the struggle with a big QB presence and pass presence in most of these years probably really since like the Nova era where I feel like even with the record this year you could say it was exciting to watch. The offense is going to
Mhm.
go out and put points on the board. I love seeing Ian Strong. I mean, like I said, he gives us Carew vibes. Kind of gives me that Kenny Britt kind of like feel in a way. He's a big
Hmm.
receiver. I don't know if he's going to, have a Sanu like 115 reception single season break reception record breaking. But I mean, right now he's at 16 receptions. He's over 200 receiving yards. I would love to see him, go back to back 100, consecutive yards receiving. I think he'll break 1,000 receiving yards this year. I think he can break a 50 to 60. I don't know. I'd love to see him with like 70 receptions this year. I mean, him, Dove, Sheffield,
So crazy
weapons.
thought. Crazy thought. Could we potentially see 2,000-yard receivers?
I would love it. I think it's possible. And here's the thing, it's definitely possible. I mean, I could even see, Sheffield even, got a bunch of receptions this week too. So I mean,
Hmm.
to have those three weapons, if everyone can stay healthy, and you know what, there's weapons too on that bench that could come into play. Picking off
Yeah, I mean,
100 receiving yards there, 200 receiving yards there, throughout the season. Not per game, but you never know.
I don't know. I mean, Strong just had a huge game. I'm excited to see what he puts together for Norfolk State moving forward. He's clearly the number one option. Um, but I mean, Athan, yeah, can't really criticize him too much. Like I said, nitpick the throw that he missed to DT. There's a couple throws that you wish he probably could have been a little bit more accurate on. Um, I think one of which was specifically that first down. I mean, the third down and attempt to, I believe, Colin Weber. Um, that got broken up because it was kind of thrown behind at the receiver. But um, I mean, perfect example of having these big body wide receivers is that one third down. I think it was either third down or second down where Athan kind of threw the ball like pretty far outside, and you just see KJ Duff just Mr. Fantastic, just with 6'6" frame, just reach out and just snatch the ball out of the air and come down with it for the first down. And I remember a couple years ago, you know, we had good wide receivers, but like they weren't making the contested grabs. Like Chris Long last year, he was not making the contested catches. Like he would like have some like contest drops is almost what, like, if it was a stat. You can't really call it a drop, but like, those plays, those catches that is going to be a tough catch and you absolutely have to have it. And I feel like having KJ and Strong on the field, like, I'm less apprehensive about those types of plays because if it goes to them, like, they're strong, they're big, they got good hands, like they're gonna come down with the rock.
I'm blanking out. Who is it of our receivers this week? End zone. They caught it. They brought it in. They didn't complete it on the ground. It was Duffer Strong in the end zone.
Oh,
I mean, it would have
I
been a
know what you're
real
talking
play.
about. It would
And
have been a highlight reel catch. I think it was KJ.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, just that strength, you know, and that athleticism, like that athleticism to me. I mean, if you could have secured that a little bit more, I mean, touchdown.
That would have been a top 25 play possibly. I mean, there was some crazy catches across the board this week though. I won't lie about that. Um,
Even
but
Sheffield
yeah,
with
it's
the
just
rain. I mean, I thought Sheffield was a nice grab in the end zone, but when you actually see, in slow motion with the rain coming down that second half of play, I give it a little bit more credit.
mhm. But I mean, he didn't have a blow up play. Um, like he did last week, like one of those explosive like bangers. Um, but yeah, just talking about the offense in general. Um, 2 years ago, I'd be watching or even last year, I'd be watching the games, with my wife, and because I'm trying to convert her into a diehard Rutgers fan like myself. It's a work in progress, but we're making strides there. Um, I was almost able to, like, call the play. Oh, this is going to be a run. This is going to be a run. Okay, it's third and long. We're going to throw an incompletion. And we're going to have to punt the ball, and then, like clockwork, that's exactly what happened. Especially when we had Gavin Wimsett playing 2 years ago. It's like, oh, run them on a guy,
Actually,
run them. run to an guy, run to an guy, short pass for Wimsit because we know that he can't throw the ball and we don't have confidence in him to throw the ball. And that's exactly what happened. And then we would punt. And I would just be sitting there, like bashing my head proverbially into the wall because any defensive coordinator knew exactly what we were going to do. And that's leading into my next point, though, is if we could just figure out how to extrapolate even like 25% of what those defenses were like this whole season would be crazy. Because those defenses, even though we knew we couldn't score, even against, remember when we almost beat Ohio State. We would keep it close, for the first half against the Penn States, the Michigans.
Well,
But
even
then obviously
last year, the Maryland game.
Yeah. So if we can just figure out, how to do what we got to do on defense. Now, obviously, we don't have the players across the board that we once had. So I'm not going to sit here and expect us to be holding teams to like a 1.7 yard average on the ground, right? But if we can just figure out what changes that we need to make in order to have our the way we want to play defense fit the players that we have, I feel like the sky is almost the limit this season.
Well, for
I
scoring,
had us preseason. I had us at 6-6. I'm not going to change my prediction, but if we could figure out what to do on defense and the offense continues to evolve and mesh together, we could easily be an 8-win team, which I think would be like the ceiling.
well, it's funny.
Um,
Even being Rutgers diehard fans. I mean, last week I think I had them at scoring 17, which they did. I had it 35-17.
yeah.
Offense went a little further. I think the defense is going to get called out. It's 2 weeks in a row. I think they're going to come in at least week 3, Norfolk State, with something to prove. And Norfolk State coming off a win in overtime. They might be a little bit banged up. I think I think we'll see a little bit more out of the defense this week. I mean, we need to.
I mean, hey, I'll let you say that this time. I said that last week. And look where it got me. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. We've been going for almost an hour plus, 2 hours. Actually, no, like an hour and a half. But let's do our segment, Rider. Let's do our segment here, Rider of the week for next week. Who do you think your riders are going to be?
Ian Strong. Ian Strong, I think, is definitely going to be my rider. Ethan Plate.
You're so boring.
I think emerging. I think unexpected. Riders. Ethan's been playing great. I said C.J. Campbell last week. I'm going Antoine Raymond. I think he's going to have a big week this week. I think we're going to feed him the ball a lot more. On defense, I'm going to go Josh Sanders. I think is going to come up big. And I'm going to go with my surprise rider for next week is going to be Bradley Weaver.
Nice. I like it.
I want to,
Right.
show up.
What's the count? What do you think the count is?
I think we're going something similar. I think we're going to go high scoring offense. I want to say we put 45 on the board.
Let's go.
Board. And defensive, it's a long game. That my heart wants to say we keep them to 13.
Okay.
But you know what? Maybe Norfolk State's coming off, that high too. They just won a game in overtime.
So you're saying 45-13?
I'm keeping them at set. No, I'm going to go 13. I'm going to go 45-13.
Alrighty. I guess to finish this off, I'll go with who I believe that my rioters of the week are going to be. I'm going to have On offense, I guess I'll start with offense. I'm gonna go KJ Duff. He didn't necessarily have. I mean, it's kind of crazy to say, but since Strong had the big game, I think it's his turn next week. I think Norfolk State's going to try to make a real concerted effort to try to shut Ian Strong down. He's still going to get his, but I think KJ is going to be it. And I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go double wide receivers. I'm gonna go KJ and DT. I'm going KJ DT for the Rioters of the week. On offense. And then defensively, this is a tough one. You know what? I just like me some Moses Walker. I'm going to go Moses again. I'm going to go Moses, and I'm going to join you in the defensive backfield with my second defensive Rioter. It's going to be I'm going to go Cam Miller. I think that we were real high on him coming over from Penn State. You know what? I'm going to do 3. You know what? Just because I've been so critical of him, I'm going to go Jet Elad. Just because I've been critical of him for 2 weeks in a row. I know he was supposed to be my Rioter this week. Didn't work out. I'm going to go hit the smash button on Jet Elad because this is going to be his game. He's going to come around this time around. Defense is going to get it figured out, and I think the score is going to be. I'm not going to copy you just because that's lame. I'll go 38. I'll go 38 to. I'll be crazy. I'll go 38-12, all field goals, Norfolk State.
No, I like it. I think the one thing I think a surprise play. I think Fletcher might get a TD this week.
Yeah, all right. I like it.
I know it. The one thing I like is Shiano likes to move the ball around. He likes to give everyone a little sugar. He's big on bringing people in and getting them, burn and sugar. So that's the 2 things I'm pulling sugar.
That'll be your surprise TD. All right, my surprise TD will be Ben Black. But got anything else before we head up out of here?
That's it.
All right, man. Well, go Rutgers, and I'll see you here in 7 days.
I'll catch you here in 7 days. It's our next ride on the Raritan.
Absolutely. Next time we ride on the Raritan. Anywho, take it easy, man. Have a good week.
You too. Go Knights. Catch you next week.
Absolutely. Go Knights.